Well, welcome to In Good Company, everyone. This is a video series introducing you to the people behind the titles in the ABA section of dispute resolution. I'm Liz Hill, section chair, and today we're going to get to know Jim Alfini, one of our section's two House of Delegate representatives. He was a former chair himself. He was also dean and now professor emeritus of South Texas College of Law in Houston. So Jim, thank you so much for joining us. I'm glad we can make this happen. How are you doing?
Great. It's a pleasure to be here with you, Liz.
Excellent. Well, before we get into questions, where are we finding you? Where are you located right now?
I live in the Chicago area. We have an apartment downtown, but most of the time we're in a condominium apartment in Northfield, Illinois, which is just north of Chicago. I'm retired. I'm
Yeah.
retired. Yeah, I'm a retired pointy-headed academic.
Okay, excellent. Well, let's start off with talking a little bit about what calls you to this work. Why dispute resolution?
Yeah, I sort of stumbled into it. It was about 40 years ago, 1985. I was appointed to a professorship at Florida State University Law School. And the then dean, Sandy Dallenberg, had been very active in the ABA, later became the president of the American Bar Association. But he was the chair of the Special Committee on the Resolution of Minor Disputes, which then became the Standing Committee on Dispute Resolution. And he was bound and determined to get me involved in the dispute resolution field in the ABA. So he got me on the Standing Committee on Dispute Resolution. This is probably around 1989, 1990. And the chair of the standing committee was Robert Raven, who was a former president of the American Bar Association. And he was bound and determined to turn us into a section. So I go back that far. I was part of the group that worked on us becoming a section of the ABA, and in 1994, that happened. So in the meanwhile, I was teaching civil procedure at Florida State, as well as ADR courses, an ADR survey course, and a mediation course that I was teaching with Sharon Press, who became the director of the Dispute Resolution Center, Florida Dispute Resolution Center, which I helped to set up at the law school. It was a joint program of the Supreme Court of Florida and the FSU College of Law. So I sort of stumbled into it through the academic field because I was on the faculty of a law school where the dean was a big ADR proponent and sort of got me involved heavily into the dispute resolution field.
So he was a little ahead of his time, it sounds like. And what a great good fortune for you to have him at the helm and kind of leading you into this field. And I know just from having worked with you, Jim, over the past 10 years or so in the section, you bring such a wealth of information, wisdom, knowledge to the section, and it makes sense, right? Because you've been here since the very beginning. So,
Yeah. And by the way, I should mention the two people I mentioned, our top award in the section, the Dallenberg Raven Award, is named for Sandy and Bob Raven, the two chairs of the predecessor committees that really helped to make us a section at the ABA.
that's great. No, it's wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that. So now, I mean, you've been many things in the section, including chair, as I mentioned. Now you serve as one of our House of Delegate representatives, and you've been doing that. I don't even know how many years now, but you've been doing that for a while. What keeps you excited about that role? Maybe tell us about the role, and then what keeps you excited about it?
Yeah, well, thanks for putting up with me in that role for so long. I was just reelected, thanks to you and the nominating committee, to a seat in the House of Delegates. I will have been next year. I'll be 25 years in the House of Delegates. This is probably my last go round, but it really is a milestone to be in the House for 25 years. And the House of Delegates is the policymaking body of the ABA. Our section, because of its size, has the right to name two delegates to the House, and David Larson and I are the current delegates. It looks like with a change that happened at this last meeting, we
Mhm.
may get a third delegate, which would
Yep,
be great.
sounds like it, yes.
It's really an exciting place. There's about 500 members. It's like the U.S. House of Representatives to some extent. We meet in the ballroom of a big hotel at the mid-year and annual meetings of the ABA. And there's usually about 30 resolutions, and our section has had a number of resolutions over the years. We had the Uniform Mediation Act, we had the Model Standards of Conduct for arbitrators and for mediators. We've responded as the House should to societal problems. A good example of that is the foreclosure crisis. Remember, or you're too young to remember, Liz, but around 2008, 2009,
Remember.
there was a foreclosure crisis in the United States, and we proposed a resolution which passed in the House of Delegates, calling upon state legislatures and bar associations, lawyers generally, to support foreclosure mediation programs. And it really caught on. The state I'm living in now, Illinois, had a big statewide foreclosure mediation program. A number of states, Colorado, your state, had a lot of foreclosure mediation going on. And I would say that it was a real success story for the ABA. We were the ones that inspired the creation of those foreclosure mediation programs. Of course, we've had other areas. Um, you're going to be unique. You're the first ombuds to become chair of the section.
Yes.
And we're about, I think, to see a model ombuds act come forward, and we'll bring it to the House.
Mhm.
So it's been exciting to be a member of the House of Delegates. One of the things that's changed a little over the years is there's been much more interest on the part of our section leadership in what goes on in the bigger ABA, particularly the House of Delegates. But thanks to you and Susan Guthrie, you've put us on the map in the ABA. You,
Yes.
those of you who are listening should know that our moderator here, Liz Hill, who's the chair of our section now, was last year the chair-elect of the section, and she chaired her class at the section officers conference. She was the head of all the chairs elect, if you will. And Susan Guthrie, our then chair, was the head of the chairs. And they have really moved our section forward in terms of our reputation within the ABA.
Well,
People
thank
know
you.
us now, and it's largely because of their leadership in the bigger ABA. And we get to be known through the House of Delegates as well when we bring resolutions to the House. So we're very proud of you, Liz.
Oh, thanks, Jim. No,
You've
thank
been
you for
good.
saying that. And it's such an honor, to be involved at that level. And it is great for our section to be, as you say, on the map and recognized. And I hope that tradition continues. And I also, in regard to your comments about resolutions, really encourage all of our committees to consider, what resolutions might they want to introduce. We have a policy officer and we have Jim and David, and to really help move those through the process. So we're very fortunate to have you. So thank you for
Yeah,
all your
and
service.
Anna Sambold, our policy
Yes.
officer, stands ready to help any
Yes.
individual or section in our or committee in our section to develop and put resolutions forward to the House.
Absolutely.
She's developed some very good guidelines for section members to follow. We recently had the Early Dispute Resolution Committee
Yes.
bring a resolution forward that got adopted in the House. We had one, the only I hate to use the word failure because it was only temporary, but the only time we had a hiccup was when we joined forces with the uniform law commissioners on a Uniform Collaborative Law Act.
Mhm.
This was about 12, 13 years ago. And the Uniform Law Commissioners passed the UCLA, if you will, the Uniform Collaborative Law Act. And we brought it forward to the House of Delegates. There was a very loud and influential member of the litigation section who thought that collaborative law was unethical. I won't go into the details, but and he was influential enough to get a number of people, including a couple of former presidents of the ABA, to get up in the House and speak against it. And so the House actually voted it down, which I thought was a big, not only a mistake, I thought it made us look bad, if you will. The 2 years ago, our ethics committee brought the Uniform Collaborative Law Act back to us, and we brought a resolution forward to ask the House to adopt it. And with almost without a whimper, it got adopted this time. And it's a good example of how our field has grown.
Yes.
Collaborative law over a decade ago wasn't that well known. Now it's become part of the practice for many lawyers, particularly if you're in the family divorce area. And so we were able to move it through
Yeah.
very easily this time
That's
around.
fantastic. No, and it's just a great example too of how our section can influence the field. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's a great
yeah,
example. Mhm.
yeah.
All right, Jim. So before we wrap things up, we're going to move out of the professional realm here and um, share a little something with us that brings you joy, right? What do you do or what do you love that keeps you grounded?
Wow. I really like people. You can probably tell I'll go on and on. My wife is always criticizing me for making a short story long. So I like doing things that involve people, but actually I'm an avid reader. And in my retirement, I've been able to do a lot more reading. I have a Kindle and I'm always getting books on my Kindle.
Yeah.
And I'm old enough to remember when we got our first television. I was in the third grade, I think, and I can remember the Wheaties, which sponsored the Lone Ranger show. The wheat waving and the Lone Ranger comes on out of the west, the Lone Ranger. Um, and so I've always been an avid TV watching, and now with Roku and the streaming channels and everything. So I
Mm-hmm.
hate to say it, but I'm pretty sedentary in my old age, and I like to read and watch television. Those are two
Bring
things.
you joy.
I've always been a collector, and our younger son, when he was about 9 or 10 years old, got very interested in baseball card collecting.
Mm-hmm.
And it brought me back to my youth. And so I did it with him. And we've got all these old baseball cards that we collected. And now I'm looking through them and thinking about maybe we should get some of them graded. They might be worth
I
something.
know, right? Yes, that's very
Yeah.
true.
So I don't know my wife thinks it's a sickness, but I do like to collect. I collected stamps and coins and baseball cards or what have you. Yeah.
Collecting is a hobby. Why? Yeah, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
If it brings
Yeah.
you joy, why not? That's what
Yeah.
I say. All right, Jim. Well, thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. For those of you watching, thanks so much for joining this episode of In Good Company. And you can connect with Jim on LinkedIn. We will include his link with the video when we upload it to YouTube. And of course, we'll be tagging Jim on the section's LinkedIn posts for this video as well. So with that in mind, make sure that you are following the ABA section of dispute resolution on our socials and watch out for more conversations with our leaders. Thank you.
Bye, Liz.
Bye, Jim.